Hi, my name is Sam Lord. My group will be advocating as to why employers shouldn't ask future employees for their social media passwords because it's an invasion of privacy. Imagine you're at a job interview. Everything is going well, you've been talking to a representative for a while, and you think you have the job in hand when your interviewer asks you for your Facebook password. You think, my Facebook password? Why would they need my Facebook password? As immoral as that may sound, it has become common practice for employers to ask for the passwords to interviewee social networking sites. In response to such a request, many people would probably simply refuse and leave the interview, but some people cannot afford to do such a thing. While it might not seem like an overwhelming issue, we can all agree that having your privacy invaded is inappropriate and unwarranted. A person's conduct at work might be much different than when they are at home, but even still, the only thing that should matter is the conduct in the workplace. Anything gleaned from peeks at a person's Facebook shouldn't be considered when considering someone for employment. Desmond's going to tell you about the ill.
The invasion of privacy is clearly the chief concern in this debate. Anyone who visits a social media site can agree. You wouldn't give out your password to just anybody, would you? In fact, it is entirely possible that you don't give your password out at all. Many people hold privacy among their chief concerns, and nobody likes when it is unwillingly invaded. It is out of line for an employer to ask for your passwords because they're doing it with the sole intent on finding any little thing they find suspicious or may perceive as inappropriate. But anything they might find from these social networking sites is far or is from beyond the workplace and really doesn't and shouldn't concern prospective employers at all. Catherine Crump said on March 20th, 2012 on alcu.org, "You'd be appalled if your employer insists on opening up your postal mail to see if there is anything of interest inside." Facebook itself issued a public statement that it is an invasion of privacy for employers to try and obtain all that additional personal information, and they would take action to protect the privacy and security of our users, whether by engaging policymakers or, where appropriate, by initiating legal action. Sarah Kessler on Mashable.com said on March 26th. Now Sam is going to tell you about the blame.
In 2010, a man named Robert Collins would return to the Maryland Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services following a leave of absence due to a death in the family. During his recertification interview, he was baffled when he was asked for his Facebook password to check for gang affiliations. Shocked as he was, he had no choice as he needed the job to support his family. He was made to sit and watch as the interviewer poured through his personal life as well as the lives of his friends and family. Afterwards, Collins approached the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, of Maryland, upset by this violation of his privacy. Taking interest in his case, the ACLU sent a letter to the Public Safety Secretary Gary Maynard concerning the Department of Corrections' requirement that applicants for employment provide the government with their social media usernames and passwords. Eventually, the Department of Corrections consented to a point and is now asking all interviewees to log in an attempt to maintain their privacy. As we begin to use Facebook and social networking to stay connected, it is important for employers and the government to remember that Facebook is a medium for private communication. Maryland Department of Corrections requiring a full disclosure of an employee's Facebook page is no different from your boss looking through your diary, personal emails, or home videos. New York Statistician Justin Bassett had just finished answering a few character questions when the interviewer brought up his Facebook page. Seeing that his profile was set to private and that no information could be accessed, she asked him for his login information. Bassett refused and withdrew his application. In the article, "Would You Give Job Interviewers Your Facebook Password Because They Might Ask" on theatlantic.com by Megan Garber, March 20th, it is akin to requiring someone's house keys, says Orrin Kerr, a George Washington University law professor who calls it an egregious privacy violation. Obviously, the people responsible for the problem are the employers and companies implementing these practices, asking people for their passwords to their social networking sites. Finding out about the character of a potential employee is very important, but there are much less invasive and inappropriate methods of obtaining that information. Rashid is going to tell you about the cure.
Companies can do a thorough background check to find out the character of prospective employees. A background check gives the employer the information needed to find about a prospective employer without invading the privacy of the employee. With a background check, more information can be found than on a social media website because the user will only post things that they would like others to know about them. The positives of a background check can reveal the good and the bad things about a future employee that cannot obtain through a social media website. In the article, Background Checks is Vital to Finding Dishonest Job Seekers by Judy Stringer on May 8, 2012, in the Boston Sun, the U.S. Department of Labor estimated that some 60% of job applicants fib about their educational background, and about 1/3 of all applicants are less than truthful about their work experience or the role they played in previous employers. A background check can weed out the fakes and phonies, and a social media account wouldn't be able to do that. Also, from the same article, a background check are becoming more standard practice among companies of all sizes, considering new employees. According to executives in the screening business, Nick Firshman, Chief Marketing Officer and Executive Vice President of Employee Screen IQ, said when his Cleveland company was founded in 1999, approximately 1/2 of the nation's employers conducted some kind of background check on their prospective employees, while recent statistics suggest that between 85 to 90% of companies do this today. So it's now standard procedure for most companies to do background checks and not to ask for Facebook passwords. As you can see, a background check can provide a more detailed and more truthful perception of a future employer than a social media profile. Background checks do not lie, but social media profile can. The cure for asking for a social media password would be doing a thorough background check on future employees. Our 3 main points are: employers asking prospective employees for their social media password is an invasion of privacy. The employers are the issue. And one way you can fix the problem is with the background check. We all can agree that employers should not be allowed to ask for prospective employers' social media passwords. The only thing that should matter when applying for a job is your qualifications. Anything learned from a Facebook password should be accounted. That's no different than a stranger going through your emails. It is the employers using these strategies who are at fault, but there are more effective and accurate ways to obtain information about an interviewee, like a background check.